Welcome to AER Int channel, and in this occasion, let's continue to learn together about surface modeling. In the previous video, we made these lofted surfaces that join the other parts of the model together, and in this one we'll look at filling in that gap using a filled surface. Now I just mentioned that we joined these areas together, but actually if you look at the surface bodies folder here, they're not joined together, they're all separate surfaces. The filled surface tool patches gaps or holes in surfaces, and it's much easier to use if all of the surfaces are connected. So before we use it, we'll first knit all of the surfaces together into one large surface. Go to the Surfaces tab, and then choose Knit Surface. And let's select all the surfaces of the model. We don't have to tick any of the checkboxes, just press OK. And now we should have one single surface here. If we do have more than one here, it just means that we missed selecting one of the surfaces somewhere. So just go back and edit the knit feature and make sure we have all of the surfaces in the model selected. We can now use the filled surface tool. Here it is in the Surfaces tab. For this tool, all we need to do is select all of the edges around the area we want to patch. So we can select them all manually, like this. So I'm selecting all of the edges that go around the area I want to patch. And then we can see we've got the preview. Or we can select them automatically. To do this, I'm gonna clear the selection that we've already got, just so I can show us. So what we can do is right click on one of the edges, and then we can go down and press Select Open Loop. And that will select the entire loop like that, so we've got the same preview there. We can now select exactly how the patch joins the edges and the surfaces around it. I'm going to go to this box and change it from contact to tangent. And as I do that, we might see a small change in the preview. I'm also gonna check the Apply to All box. And then we probably see more of a change in the preview. So that just means that all of the edges are gonna be tangents to the surfaces and the edges that we've selected around the outside of the patch. And the preview looks like quite a nice shape there. So I'm gonna press OK. And we've now created that patch that perfectly fills in the area. So the sprayer is looking pretty good there, and we could leave it there. But just one more thing to note with the filled surface, we can also use what are called constraint curves, and these are basically guide curves. And we can also use single points, which are known as pull points. So if we had a point out here that we wanted the surface to touch, we could add in those constraints using pull points, and we'll quickly go over that now. Now to use pull points or constraint curves, we need to draw the sketch that we are going to use before we make the filled surface. So I'm going to drag the rollback bar above the filled surface, and then I'm going to make a new sketch on the right hand plane. And I'm going to add a single point that's 170mm up from the origin and 50mm out to the side. And make sure it's on the same side that we just made surface on. So we've just got a point that's 170 up and 50mm out to the side here. I'm now gonna drag back below that filled surface feature. Now just make sure our point is on the same side as our filled surface. If it's not, we might just need to edit that sketch and then flip that 50mm around so the point moves to the other side. And we can see here that the sketch in the feature 3 is before the surface fill. So we can now edit the surface fill feature, and we should be able to use that sketch as one of the constraints. So down here in constraint curves, I'm gonna click in that box, and I'm going to select the point that we just drew. And if you can't see in the graphics area, we might just need to expand that second feature 3 to select it. Now when we select the issue, get a new preview. If it doesn't work for any reason, as seems to happen in my case, we might need to change some of the settings. So maybe move the point closer to the previous surface, or we can try adjusting the settings up here. So I'm gonna change these from tangent to contact and see if that works. And now we can see on the preview, we are actually now hitting that point. And that looks pretty good on the preview. So if we wanted the bulb to go out to this point, all we need to do is select that point on the constraint curve. And if I press OK, that new surface is updated. And we've got a bit of a stranger shape now, but it's still nice and smooth, and it's going out to the point that we've selected. We could also use a number of points, or we could use curves to define the exact shape of that surface. So to recap filled surfaces, these are used to fill in or patch a gap or a hole in surfaces, and they work best when all the surfaces around them are knitted together using the knit surface command. We can then select filled surface, and we can select the boundary edges either manually, or we can right click on one edge and we can press Select Open Loop. We can then adjust how the patch joins the edges around it, and we can use things like pull points and constraint curves to exactly define the shape of the curve. In the next video, we'll finish off the sprayer by looking at things like mirroring, planar surfaces, and knitting versus thickening. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like. I hope it can be a little helpful and useful.